Hello, and today we're going to be talking about how to find the circumcenter and orthocenter of a triangle using coordinates. So we're going to start today off with circumcenter. The way we kind of differentiate circumcenter and orthocenter, other than the fact that one's perpendicular bisector and the other one's altitudes, is that we also want to talk about what point we have to use. So I always like to talk about the circumcenter and orthocenter as follows. In a circumcenter, we're going to use a midpoint. Midpoint because it has an M in there. And orthocenter means we're going to use the opposite point. We got to do whatever we need to try to remember it. I'm going to start off by finding the circumcenter with these 3 points, and then afterwards I'll find the orthocenter as well. Let's start with circumcenter. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope of BA, and then I'm going to find the perpendicular slope. So the slope of BA would be 10 minus negative 2 over 4 minus negative 2. That's going to give me 12 over 6, which is a slope of 2. The perpendicular of that would be negative 1/2. Remember, if I have A over B, the perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal of that. So now I know my equation is going to be y equals negative 1/2 x plus b. I need to actually find the midpoint, right? We talked about circumcenter using the midpoint. So the midpoint formula is essentially the sum of the x's over 2 and the sum of the y's over 2. Think about midpoint as the average of the x and y value. This gives me a midpoint of 1, 4. So now I'm going to use that and plug it into this equation. 4 equals negative 1/2 times 1 plus b. That means b is 4.5. You could also do 9/2 here, but I like 4.5. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4.5. I'm going to keep this equation, right? I only need 2 to try to figure out the circumcenter, but here's one of them. Now we'll do the exact same thing, but we're going to use our BC instead. So with BC, keep this line, BC, we have to first find the slope. So 8 minus 10 over 6 minus 4 gives me negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. Perpendicular to that would be 1. So y equals 1x plus b. We don't really have to write the 1, but it helps sometimes when we're solving these. And so now we find the midpoint being 5, 9. I plug that in and get 9 equals 1 times 5 plus b. Therefore, b is 4. So my other equation is y equals x plus 4. We can solve this via substitution, or we can go to Desmos and graph. Let's try that out. Okay, so my first equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4.5. And my other equation is y equals x plus 4. So I find out where they intersect, which is right here. That is 1/3, 4 1/3. So we go back to our problem. We got 1/3, 4 1/3. The only thing I would change is I don't really like 4 1/3. I'd rather that be an improper fraction, which is 13/3. So my final answer for the circumcenter would be 1/3, 13/3. All right, let's do the same thing, but with orthocenter this time. So with orthocenter, we still need to find the perpendicular slopes. So go 10 minus negative 2 and 4 minus negative 2, which gives me 12 over 6, which gives me a slope of 2. The perpendicular of that, which we talked about, is already negative 1/2. However, as we talked about with orthocenter, we have to use the opposite point. The opposite point meaning whatever point I didn't use for my slope, it's essentially opposite of the side length. This gives us y equals negative 1/2 x plus b. Let's plug that back in. 8 equals negative 1/2 times 6 plus b. means b is 11. So y equals -1/2 x plus 11. That's one equation. We need two though. So let's go and find our other. So now we're going to do 8 minus 10 over 6 minus 4, giving us that slope of -2 over 2, which is -1, perpendicular, which is 1. So y equals 1x plus b. Again, I use BC for this. So now my other point would be a. So -2 equals 1 times -2 plus b. Therefore, b is 0. So my other equation is just y equals x. This one's really easy for us to just plug in and substitute because we know we'll get the same x and y value. So let's go x equals -1/2 x plus 11. So I add that over and get 3/2 x equals 11. So x equals 22 over 3. So my final answer is 22 over 3, and because x equals y, I'd also get 22 over 3. If we were to graph this on Desmos, what would we get? Well, we can see here we get 7.333 repeating, which is 7 1/3, which translates to 22 over 3. All right, well, that was just a quick explanation for orthocenter and circumcenter. You'll see that we'll also talk about centroid coming up pretty soon, but that will be a lot easier for us to find than circumcenter or orthocenter. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I will help you out. All right, have a great day.